Welcome to Self with Savannah. I felt called to make an episode to share with you for times when you feel like you just have nothing left to give, when it feels like nothing is working out no matter what you do, and it feels like you have no choice but to give up. I felt really called to make this episode because I know that feeling well, especially in the past several years of building my business. The entrepreneurship path, journey, whatever you want to call it, is no joke. It is very challenging at times. And there were many points throughout that journey, throughout that process of building my business where I was crying myself to sleep at night. I felt like I was pushing this boulder up a mountain. And every time I thought that I was almost at the top, it's like an avalanche came and I was pushed back down to the bottom again, over and over and over again. It required a level of emotional and mental endurance and resilience that I didn't even know I had within me. There were a lot of lessons that I learned on that journey and a lot of things that helped me on that path, and so I want to share them with you today. So I want to start off by saying that growth is not linear. It doesn't go in a straight line. It can be up and down, up and down. One day it may feel like you're on top of the world and you have everything happening and working and you're taking all the action and you're doing all the things. And then the next day, it feels like you're going backwards. That is normal. That is part of this journey. And just because on the days when it feels like you're going backwards and no matter what you do, nothing is working out, you are still growing. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And even though you can't see it maybe in your life yet, you have to trust that so much is happening behind the scenes that you can't see yet. But one day, things are going to start clicking and you're going to realize that, wow, every step that I was taking to keep moving forward, even in those times when it felt so hard, it felt so challenging, it felt like I wanted to give up, but I chose to keep going, it was working all along. And it will be so worth it. Everything that you're doing right now is going to be so worth it, and it will probably be so much better than you ever could have even imagined in the first place. And in those hard times, in those challenges, something that really helped me was having faith and trust that even though I can't see why this is happening the way that it is, I know that one day I'm going to look back on these moments and understand why it all had to work out the way that it did, why I had to go through everything that I did. That is what kept me going, is keeping that faith and keeping that trust that something so much bigger is happening that I can't see yet. And I'm telling you, from getting to the other side of it, it is so worth it. It's so worth it. A mindset that I adopted was everything is happening for me, not to me. So again, in those moments when it feels like you just got pushed down to the bottom of the mountain and you don't know how you're going to get back up, but you do, that is what helped me get back up. Was trusting that, okay, if this isn't happening to me, it's actually happening for me. I'm going to get myself back up off the floor and I'm going to keep going. Because the only time that you actually fail is when you give up. Failing and making mistakes is part of life. It's part of being human. And when you're having failures and when you're making mistakes, you can see that as proof of, okay, this means that I'm actually trying though. Failures are part of the process. It is what allows us to learn and grow and evolve as humans. And the difference between people who fail succeed, the ones that failed used that failure as a reason to stop. The ones who succeeded, they used all of their failures, all of their rejections, all of their mistakes as a learning opportunity. In every single one of those failures, there is a lesson to be learned. And so when you go through that experience and you can gain the lesson from it and then implement it into your life, you are going to become so fucking unstoppable. Because every time that you do, every time that you fail, but you keep going, you learn the lesson and you keep going, you are becoming a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you. And adopting that mindset, adopting that way of life will bring you to places that are so beyond what you can even imagine right now. The only thing that matters is that you keep going. You keep going and you will get there. You will get there. What I want to make clear is that when you are going through these hard times, through these challenges, it is so important to allow yourself to feel all of the feelings, all of the emotions that come along with that experience. In order to heal, we need to feel. And however you feel is valid. You don't have to try and tell yourself or convince yourself that you're not allowed to feel the way that you do. You don't need to tell yourself the story of, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. However you feel is valid, and you need to allow yourself to feel it so that it can be released. Because when we try to suppress or ignore or avoid or push down all of the feelings, all of the heaviness, it doesn't just disappear. It gets stored within us and it builds, which later down the road, it's going to explode and it's going to become something even worse. Even physical symptoms, right? There's a mind body connection. If you think about it, when you feel anxious or excited, your heart starts to beat, right? Quickly. Or when you feel sad, you cry. Mind body connection. And so when you don't allow yourself to feel your feelings, again, they get stored within you and they can result in even physical health problems down the road. So allow yourself to feel without judgment. If you need to have a good cry, let yourself cry. Trust me, there have been countless nights where I cried myself to sleep, where I was angry, I was frustrated. Why isn't it working out? And all of these different feelings that I had, part of being human. And what I learned is that when you allow yourself to feel it all, you are going to feel so much lighter after. When you allow yourself to have a good cry, you feel so much lighter after. And of course it's not fun. It's not easy at times to allow yourself to feel the heaviness, right? That's the more difficult thing to do, but you will feel so much better after. And it's going to release everything that needs to be released so that you can become the version of you need to be in order to have whatever it is that you want. Something else I want to talk about is fear. When you are stepping out of your comfort zone a lot, that is an incredible thing, first of all, because that means that you are learning and growing, right? That is how we grow and expand as humans, is by stepping outside of our comfort zone. With that, though, there are probably going to be times when your mind gets really loud because we are not wired for success, we are wired for survival. And so the way that your system works, your mind and body works, is that it sees things that are familiar as safe. And its job is to keep you safe. And so when you are stepping outside of your comfort zone, that means things are unfamiliar. They're new, right? And so your system deems that as unsafe. Even though that thing that you're stepping out of your comfort zone to do may actually be so much better for you. But your system isn't wired that way. And so feeling fear is normal. That is a normal human response to stepping outside of your comfort zone. And so when your mind gets loud and it's trying to bring you back into your cozy, quote unquote, safe comfort bubble, comfort zone, allow yourself to step outside of it anyway. One of my favorite mantras: feel the fear and do it anyway. Not every thought that you have is a fact. Again, a lot of it is going to be your mind trying to protect you from perceived danger, even though it's not actually dangerous. It's, again, just how you are wired. So when you can, one, allow yourself to feel that fear, but then choose to do the thing anyway, that is what's going to get you to where you want to be. A practice that I really love to do, I learned it from Gabby Bernstein, was allowing yourself to feel the fear that rises within you for about 90 seconds. Close your eyes and check in. Where do you feel the fear in your body? And just allow yourself to feel it. Give it love and then shift out of it. You get to choose the thoughts that you believe. And whatever thoughts that you're focusing on is going to expand. If you are giving all of your focus and your attention and energy to the fear, to the worry, to the stress, to the what ifs, that's what's going to expand. But if you can, again, do this practice, allowing yourself to feel the fear and then shift it to where it is that you actually want to go to, right? To the possibilities, to that incredible vision that you have for yourself and for your life, to the possibility of what if this actually does work out? What if it actually happens so much better than I even thought in the first place? And you can slowly and gently shift your focus down that path. That is what's going to expand. I'll give you a personal example. So, when I first started showing up on social media, I was terrified. I was terrified. I have always been someone who I like my privacy, you know? And it was very hard for me to be vulnerable and open. But I knew that I wanted to connect with people and help people, and that I have a lot to share to help my women. And so I knew that it's something that I wanted to do, I needed to do. And so when I started creating content, my mind got loud. It got loud. It started coming up with thoughts like, oh, what is so and so going to think of you? This is embarrassing. Who do you think you are? Right? Because I was stepping outside of my comfort zone. And so my mind got loud. It was trying to bring me back into my comfort zone. But I said, you know what? I know what I want. I know where I'm headed. I know this is important to me. And so every time I clicked post anyway. And so I went from being terrified of showing up online to it now being one of my favorite things. I love connecting with my people. I love showing up and sharing and being vulnerable. And now it's exciting for me because I chose to feel the fear and do it anyway. And in doing so, my comfort zone has now expanded. Those things that I was once terrified of is now my normal. So practice becoming aware of your thoughts, and instead of feeding into that spiral, that worry, that anxious spiral, practice shifting and focusing on what it is that you actually do want to happen. And this is where having a good, deep connection with yourself, or a healthy relationship with yourself, is so important, so that you know what you need, so that you have a connection and you can actually hear your intuition, your inner guidance system, because it is always guiding you. It is always there guiding you, but you have to get still enough and have that connection with yourself to actually be able to hear it. Following your intuition is the most important thing over logic. And of course, logic has its place, but your intuition is always leading you, always guiding you to where it is that you're meant to go. That is why I created Self My Membership, because reconnecting with myself is hands down the most important thing, the best thing that I've ever done for myself. Because the relationship that you have with yourself affects literally everything else in your life. So start taking some time to nurture the relationship that you have with yourself. Making yourself a priority is so important. Taking care of yourself, right? So when you're in these moments of it being really hard, that you know how to show up for yourself. You know that, okay, this is a really fucking hard time in my life, but I know that I am going to get through it. Of knowing that no matter what happens, you've got you. I've got me. That is the most incredible, freeing feeling, is knowing that no matter what happens, because let's be honest, in life, shit happens. It can get really fucking hard at times. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. That's just the truth. And so when you can have a relationship with yourself, a connection with yourself, and you know how to show up for you, it will change everything. So when those moments do arise, it's like, okay, here we go. I trust myself to get through it. Even if I don't know how yet, I trust myself and I know that I am going to make it to the other side. The last thing I want to touch on today is in those moments when it feels like you're doing all the work, you're taking all the action, but it feels like no matter what you do, things are paused. It's like nothing is working. Nothing is working yet. I'm doing all the work to make it happen. What's going on here? And what is happening is that in those moments of pause is actually you being prepared. It's you being prepared and learning all the lessons that you need to learn, and you becoming the version of you need to be in order to have whatever it is that you want. And I get it. Like it can feel frustrating when it feels like it's just put on pause and it's like, universe, what the hell is going on here? I'm doing everything. I'm following my intuition. I'm taking all the steps, yet nothing is happening. I get it. That can feel so mother effing frustrating. But what I learned is that, like, when I look back on it, it's like, oh, I understand now why it wasn't happening yet. It's because I needed to learn something. I was being prepared. I was being stretched so that I could become who I am now and have and hold everything that I wanted. And as painful and hard as those moments were, it was worth it. It was all worth it for how I feel now and for who I am now. It was all worth it. And trust me when I say it's going to be worth it for you too. It will be. You just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You don't need to change your entire life right now. Take it day by day, step by step. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is allowing yourself to rest. I know for me, there were moments when I was gripping on so tightly to this outcome. And I would get in these moments where I'm like, I just need to do, go, go, go. And in those moments, I actually needed rest. And it wasn't until I allowed myself to loosen my grip, surrender it, and just allow myself to relax and take a beat. Is that the right term? Allow myself to rest and relax. And that was the most productive thing I could have done for myself. Because what I realized was that I was blocking myself off from what was actually meant for me. The guidance was right there. The steps that were bringing me to where it was that I wanted to go were right there. But because I had my focus, I had my blinders on, and I was holding on so tightly that it had to work out this way and it had to work out at this time, that I wasn't allowing myself to see what was right in front of me. But in those moments when I let go and I allowed myself to take a break and just rest, the clarity came and I was able to move forward. Again, this is where having a connection, a relationship with yourself is so important, so that you're connected to your intuition and you can hear when it's time to take a break, when it's time to relax. What I want to leave you with is, if you're in the thick of it right now, things feel heavy, things feel hard, things feel impossible. It feels like you're in the middle of this dark tunnel and you cannot see the light at the end of it yet. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that it's okay to feel like this. And I want you to know that you will make it to the other side. You will. You just have to keep going. And sometimes continuing on and keeping going means resting, means taking a pause, means allowing yourself to have a good cry, to punch a pillow. Do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself and give yourself love and compassion and understanding. You don't need to judge yourself for feeling the way that you do. You don't need to have all of the answers right now. You don't need to have everything figured out right now. You just need to take care of you and focus on the next small step. That's it. You absolutely will get there. And I'm so proud of you for showing up, for listening to this episode, because that means you're doing something for you. You're showing up for yourself. You're so important. Your hard work, your effort is not for nothing. There's so much happening behind the scenes, and it will be worth it. I love you. Keep going. Thank you for being here with me today. If you want even more support, I would love to have you inside Self, my membership. I'll leave the link to it in the description below. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.